patriots here tonight, I tell you what. Now, all I can assume from this turnout tonight is that you must not have gotten the memo. You must not be listening to the DC press, because I don't know if you know, but you're not supposed to be listening to me. I'm supposed to be canceled. I mean, since the first of this year, have you noticed? Our friends in the liberal media and the Democrats have tried to cancel me, expel me, censure me, investigate me. I mean, all the whole 9 yards. They tried to say I couldn't publish a book, I shouldn't be on TV, I shouldn't be in the newspaper. Guess what? I'm not going anywhere.
Woo!
I'm undeterred, I'm unafraid, and I'm not going to back down. And I'm not going to back down because I know you're not going to back down.
That's right.
And there's too much on the line to back down. Isn't that right?
Yeah.
Erin would want me to send you her greetings. Erin's at home tonight with our 2 boys, Elijah and Blaze, who are 8 and 6 now. A lot of you know my boys. And our 5-month-old Abigail. Now, Erin had an interesting start to the year, some of you saw.
Yeah.
On January 4th, I was home here with the boys, but Abigail was too little to travel, so she couldn't fly on a plane yet, so Erin was in D.C. with baby Abigail when we had a whole bunch of protesters from an Antifa-affiliated group come to our house out there at night, of course, when I was not home. They come to the house, they come with bullhorns, they come screaming, they come with all this paraphernalia that they threw in our yard, terrorizing our neighbors. Do you know what my wife did? My wife was home alone with, at that time, a 2-month-old baby. She goes out herself on the front porch with the baby, and she says, "Get off my lawn.
Yeah.
Get out of here." She said, "Josh is at home. Josh is not home. I'm home alone with the baby. I've got neighbors. It's nighttime. You get out of here." Of course, they didn't. What they did then is that they came up on the property, they started banging on the doors, they had these bullhorns, they were yelling, "Come out, come out, come out." It was unbelievable. So Erin just calmly went in, called the cops, and then a little time after that, she filed a criminal complaint, and the magistrate judge said, "You know what, they broke the law." So how about that for tough? You know, I married a tough gal.
Yeah.
And you gotta be tough. Now, that was January 4th. On January 6th, I registered an objection to the Electoral College count.
Yeah.
I objected to
Yeah.
the United States for one simple reason. Election integrity matters.
Yeah.
Election integrity matters. And I said, I want to do the same thing the Democrats have done for the last 3 elections, which is have a debate in the United States Senate. If you object, you get to have a debate on the floor of the Senate. I said, I want to have a debate on election integrity in this country. I want to point out that the state of Pennsylvania in particular didn't even follow their own constitution in
Right.
The U.S. Supreme Court, in an opinion written by Justice Thomas, pointed out all the shenanigans that Pennsylvania's own Supreme Court went through, and they changed the laws in midstream. I said, I want to have a debate. Do you know that Democrats have objected to 11 states over the last 3 presidential elections? When I objected to 1, what did they say? You're a traitor, you're in favor of violence, you're every name in the book. Well, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, we're having a debate on election integrity now. Because now the Democrats are trying to take over our elections. Now the Democrats are trying to cancel our laws here in Missouri. We needed a debate on election integrity. We need it now, and we need to stand up for it. Do you believe that? Now listen, I'm here tonight because I'm concerned about the direction of this country. And I know that you are too. That's why you're here. I'm concerned about where this country is headed. I'm concerned about what we're seeing, but sometimes, I've been thinking about this, sometimes when you're in the midst of a crisis like we are now, sometimes the direction you're headed is not as important as the place where you stand. Sometimes the direction you're headed is not as important as the place where you stand. We know where the direction of the country is going. It's not good. The question is, what are we going to do about it? The question is, are we going to stand? That is the decision we have to make. If we want to change the direction of the country, we've got to take a stand.
That's right.
The challenge that we have tonight, the decision each of us has to make is, are we willing to stand? And I'm here to tell you tonight, it is worth standing up for this country. And I'm here to tell you tonight that you standing will make a difference. It's not too late. It's not too far gone. There's more that we can do if direction of the country isn't good. You know that. If you turn on your TV, you know that. The left is trying to push the most radical agenda, I think, in any of our lifetimes. They are trying to steamroll it right through the United States Congress. It's absolutely unbelievable. Joe Biden is governing like there is no Congress, government by executive order after executive order, canceling jobs, canceling our energy independence, his far left radical agenda. But what the Democrats are doing in Congress is just as bad. Look what the House Democrats have done. They passed legislation that would take over elections. Every federal election in this country, including ours here in Missouri, taken over by the Democrats in Congress. What do they want to do? Their takeover bill, their election takeover bill, centralized power in Washington, it would cancel our election integrity laws in the state of Missouri. And if you thought the mail-in balloting and other things that went on in the last election, if you thought what happened in Pennsylvania with the judges changing the rules and when the ballots would come in, return ballots after the election, if you thought that was the beginning of it, we're just getting started. This new bill that the Democrats in Congress have passed would totally take away the power of the states to administer our elections, and our election integrity laws in this state would effectively be canceled. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot allow that to happen. We are fighting for a fundamental principle, which is that every vote should count. That's the basic American bedrock principle. One person, one vote. Every vote should count. That's what we're fighting for. We've got to stand up so that we can stop this attempted takeover from Washington, D.C., but that's not all they've done. You see earlier this week, the Democrats in Congress are proposing now they want to pass the Supreme Court of the United States.
Yeah.
They haven't tried this in a century. A century ago, the Democrats, again, tried to pack the Supreme Court, and now they are at it. They want to add 4 new justices to that court. 4 new justices completely change the composition of the court, effectively cancel out the results of the 2016 election, which is where Donald Trump and the White House allowed him to appoint 3 justices. Change the composition of the court, and it's all about their agenda of controlling our democracy, seizing power, and effectively never giving it up. I mean, they want to get us to a place where the Democrats will be the only going concern in this country.
Technocratic panopticon.
And packing the court is an executive matter. Meaning, passed it. It is in the United States Senate and could be voted on. This is where we are. The House has also passed a bill that would effectively close Christian colleges and universities all across this country, including right here in southwest Missouri. A bill that would force Christian colleges and universities to violate their biblical beliefs and their church's teaching in order to accept any students who get federal student loans. This would spell the end, effectively, of Christian colleges and universities all across this country. This has passed the House. This isn't a theory. They passed it in the House. It's now sitting in the United States Senate. How about the Second Amendment? You see what the President said the other day about the Second Amendment? When he was announcing his latest series of executive orders, including those that further cut back on Second Amendment rights. By the way, you know where the Democrats want to go with the Second Amendment, don't you? I mean, you know what they want to do. They want a national gun registry. And ultimately, they want gun confiscation. I mean, half of the Democratic presidential candidates ran on it just a year ago. Right? They talked about it. They call it buybacks, mandatory buybacks. That would be confiscation. The only way to make their proposals work is to have a national gun registry. So you've got the President of the United States up there talking about his latest executive orders, and somebody raises with him the issue of the Second Amendment. Now what does he say? He says, oh, that's a phony argument.
Yeah.
Excuse me? Last I looked, the Second Amendment is in the United States Constitution. Isn't that right? I mean, it's in my copy. Is it in yours?
Yeah.
The President of the United States says it's a answer is, you bet it is. The Second Amendment is a fundamental right. The Supreme Court has said it's a fundamental right.
That's right.
It is a right.
Woo!
And we are not just going to get away from it.
That's right.
You've got the Green New Deal. You've got their efforts to expand the United States Senate by admitting new states. You've got their massive tax increases that are soon coming to you to pay for their far less liberal programs. And how about their latest desire to effectively cancel women's sports? Have you seen this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Joe Biden's executive orders and legislation the Democrats have proposed and that has passed the House would allow biological males to participate, not just allow, but require schools like this one to admit biological males to women's sports. It's crazy. Do you know who supports that? Nobody.
Nobody.
I mean, people don't support it. They don't want it. Why would we cancel women's sports? But that is what they want to do. That's what they think is some of the most important things in America. You look at all this and you realize the direction of the country is not good. And we, Missouri, we know it's not. You know, there's a reason that Joe Biden's approval rating is way underwater in the state of Missouri. Missourians are pretty smart people. Missourians look at this and they say, no, thank you, no how. This is not what we want, and that brings us to you and me. If the direction of the country isn't good, what are we going to do?
Right.
Sometimes it's not the direction in which you're headed. Sometimes it's the position in which you stand. So where are we going to take a stand? Here's what I want to suggest to you. We're going to take our stand on the Constitution of the United States.
That's right.
We're going to take our stand on the liberties of this country. We're going to take our stand on the history of this country. We're going to take our stand on the fundamental principles that make us Americans that we all believe in. We're going to take our stand now, and in this time of challenge, and in this time of trial, and in this time of crisis, we're going to say, we will not be moved. We will stand here, and as we stand here and articulate these principles anew, as we stand here again for our Constitution, we will rally the American people to us, because I tell you this, the American people do not support this far-left radical agenda. They don't.
That's right.
Do you think the American people want open borders?
No.
You see what's going on our border? Have you seen the children at our border stuffed into these holding pens? That's because of Joe Biden's policies. You see the drug cartels controlling our border, smuggling, including drug smuggling, child smuggling. That's because of Joe Biden's policies. The American people don't want that. The people of Missouri don't want that. So what are we going to do about it? We've got to take a stand and give people a place to rally to. We've got to take a stand and say, that's wrong. We have a better way. Here we stand. We've got to do the same thing for election integrity. We've got to take a stand and say every vote should matter. Every vote should count. We're not going to be pushed off of it. We've got to take a stand and say women's sports shouldn't be canceled in service of some radical social agenda. We've got to take a stand for the Second Amendment. We've got to take a stand for religious liberty. We've got to take a stand for freedom of speech.
Yes.
Here's what I learned. When the radical left came after me earlier this year, what I learned is this. They want to cancel me because they want to cancel you.
That's right.
Yes.
Here's the thing. The only way they succeed in canceling us is if we agree to be canceled.
Woo!
Right.
The only way they can silence us is if we agree to shut up. I'm here to tell you, I'm not going to be canceled. And I'm not going to shut up. I'm not going to do it. We're not going to be canceled. We're not going to be intimidated. And we're not going anywhere. Now here's what's going to happen. If we will take a stand, if we will take our stand on the Constitution of the United States, if we will stand in that place, the American people will rally to us. How do I know? Because it's happening.
Yeah.
It's happening. Look at the stage where these corporations are trying to bully people, where they're saying, if you don't allow men to play women's sports, we're going to take away your tournaments, we're going to take away your business. You know what? In a lot of those states, the state legislatures are passing the laws protecting women's sports anyway. People have had enough. They don't want to be bullied. Look at Georgia.
Woo!
Georgia, Major League Baseball tries to bully the people of that state for passing an election integrity measure, which, by the way, just gets them closer to what we already have in Missouri. They try to bully them. But you know what? The people of Georgia, the Georgia legislature said, we're not going anywhere. We're standing right here. If we will take a stand, ladies and gentlemen, the people of this country they'll be with us. But if we won't, they won't. If we don't, well, there'll be no place to rally to. Now, some of you, as I look out here in the crowd room, I see a lot of veterans. And I want to thank you for your service to this country. And you know, better know, those of you who have been in combat, you know that sometimes in the heat of a battle, there has to be a rally point. Somebody has got to say, rally to me. Somebody has got to take a stand and gather forces. That's us in this hour. That's what we're here to do. That's how we're going to serve our country. Is we're going to take our stand now in this time of testing. And as we do, we're going to change the direction of this country. In November of 2022, we're going to have the chance to go back to the country. We're going to have the chance to go back and to ask the voters again what they think. And when we do that, I'm here to tell you, if we stand now, we will change the direction of this country in November of 2022. But this is not the time for the faint of heart. This is the time for the courageous. Between now and then, we have to stand and we have to be firm and we have to articulate what we believe in, because then we'll have the opportunity to change the direction. But it all depends on who we stand. I have to tell you, even though these are challenging times, and even though the direction of our country is very, very concerning, sometimes it's frightening, I have to tell you, I'm very hopeful. Because as I am home here with you, as I've had the opportunity to travel around our state, I meet person after person who says, you know what, we're going to get through this. That doesn't represent America, what's happening in Washington, D.C. The people of this country are still strong. The people of this country are still firm. And the people of this country are ready for a new day. And I believe that. The problem isn't here. The problem is with the leadership in this country. The problem is in Washington. The problem is in our institutions of so-called leadership, the media, the universities. That's the problem, not here. Yeah. That's why I'm hopeful. And I'm hopeful because I know the strength that's in you. Some people asked me after January, they said, well, Josh, why did you do what you did? Why did you object to the Electoral College count in Pennsylvania? I said, I did it because I don't know what I would tell the people in my state if I didn't.
That's right.
And then they said, well, why did you stick with it? And I said, because I come from Missouri. In Missouri, we're the show me state, and we don't back down.
That's right.
Woo! We got about 18 months to now to November 2022. 18 months of peril, 18 months of hardship, 18 months of fighting we've got to do in the legislature and all across this country. These are 18 perilous months. The Democrats will try everything they can to steamroll through their unpopular agenda. And in this time,